In order to get audiences nowadays, because HMOs are not sexy, I've got to give away a lot of stuff. So it's one way of making sure the audience stays to the end because they want some prizes. So the prizes are, here's my books. I've written loads of books. I love the subject. Probably frustrated. Here we are. Academic. And I've written loads of books on the subject, about 15 books on the topic. Probably the best one is planning, because no one understands planning and everyone gets it wrong on that. 50 myths for HMO landlords. Those who are thinking of getting into the business can do that. What most landlords don't understand until they come in contact with it is unfair dismissal. Sorry, unfair, I'm talking about employment law. You've got that problem as well. It's illegal and unlawful eviction, what it's all about, how you can easily get involved in it. So I wrote a book on that because I got sued by a tenant, spent a day in court for unlawfully evicting him. So he did. I didn't, but you can see the problems you have. HMO landlords rules. For those of you who like to save money, 35 money saving tips. And I'm doing a whole series on questions and answers, because people ask me questions about the business, and I'll put them down there. I can trust you, can't I? You'll run off with you to do them, but that's next one. I've also done manuals on the subject. What we've got up the top there, how to become a multi-millionaire HMO landlord. That's an ABC guide on how to start up the business and how to run the business. I wrote it as a training manual because I had children late in life, and the problem of having children late in life, statistically, only statistically, you're less likely to outlive them. So if they're going to take over the business, how do you do it? So I wrote that for them to show them how to do it. But the same applies to you. If you want to become an HMO landlord, how do you do it? I wrote the manuals. It's there, all the paperwork. So when I started, no one was there to tell me. Most people didn't even know what an HMO was. Started back in 91. DIY eviction, how to get rid of your tenants, legally, quickly, and cheaply. Then I wrote a manual on doing this, rather than going to solicitors. And I'm conscious there is a solicitor here. Don't want to say anything nasty about them, they might sue me. But you could evict a tenant in the time it takes the average solicitor to pick up their pen and start doing the process, and save all the cost on doing that. Operating manual as well. This is again operating standards I use for operating my own properties. Some people call them SAPs. The information, I say, is quite there. And the latest one I wrote is how to get properties for free, almost. No one believes me when I say you can get properties for free. You don't need any money. Who was the earlier speaker? He just tore it up because he knows the same rule. You don't need money for it. It helps. Thank you. And I'm going to also give away the Platinum Mentorship. Since COVID, I've started up doing more training and mentorship. I want to help people get into the business. I love talking about it. As you can gather, I write books on it, go to various events. Talking about it is so much fun for me, and helping people to start in the business and avoid, I say, all the problems and mistakes I had. So we're going to give away at the end a free mentorship, which would cost £4,997. Next one. But for all of you, so you all don't go away unhappy or lost, because the trouble is with prizes, I'm going to give the books away to one person, manuals away to another. There's going to be disappointed people. And I hate to see grown people cry. So all of you will get a free prize. You can come on my trip to my latest acquisition, which is a 32-room HMO, and I'll explain to you how you can do it. Can I just point out my assistants at the back? We've got Tamara and Jacob. Don't be shy, stand up, give it a shake it around. Get it. Yeah, that's it. They're there. All you need to do is get, there's a booking form. You don't have to pay anything, it's for free. But the problem I have with giving away things for free is a lot of people don't turn up. So please don't let me out. We've got 3 dates for the tour. I'll be doing it until I get bored with it. Saturday the 15th of June, Sunday the 14th of July, and the other Saturday is the 27th of July. So plenty of dates. I probably won't do it through August, but then back in September. It is. Oh, thank you. That's a good question. It's there's a picture of it. Next one, I think. No, it's not. It's in Darlaston. Darlaston, north of Wednesbury. Some people go there. You can find it on your sat-nav. Junction 9 of the M6 is about a mile away from Junction 9 of the M6. 10 till 3 p.m. Come along and I'll show you how I obtained this property. It's going to cost me nothing. Hopefully I'll cash out a big chunk of money and from doing this property, and how I've adapted it and how I changed it. So those of you who are thinking of getting into HMOs and want to learn how you do it, go and see Tamara or Jakub, book yourself on there. It's all for free. This is because Mark twisted my arm. He said, you can't sell anything or do anything like that. So you give Mark a round of applause for that one. Yes. Easy though, yeah.
They know the rules in life. No saying.
Want a copy of the slides? Just email Tamara. She looks after the training for me, or ask her and she'll do it for you, and the rest. So, how did I get started in property? Well, it all started at a very early age. In 1971, I was about 20 at the time, and I decided to go back to college. School, college. I wanted to go to university. For some reason, I had this burning desire to get a degree. I don't know why. I just thought I'd do that. From the background I came from, I was brought up in care. That was a really quite unusual thing to do. And I don't know why, I just fancied doing it. I'd had a job, a fantastic job at the time in the Merchant Navy, travelling around the world, eating the best of food, because I was started off as a silver service waiter and then gradually went into the bars. And it was a great life for a young person. So I saved up my money and decided to go and get a degree. That was the most miserable time in my life. It was awful. But anyway, enough of my problems. So I go and I needed somewhere to live so I can go and study. And I ran into Mr. Schultz, a small German Jew who owned the HMO. And he asked me what I was doing, and I told him, and he took a shine to me and started telling me his story. He'd bought his first HMO in 1964 in Clapham, South London. Anyone know Clapham? Heard of it? Yeah? Avoid it? Yes. It's now posh. My time, it wasn't so posh. He told me that his first HMO he bought cost him £3,000 in 1964, which was quite a bit of money in those days. 1971, the next one he bought cost him £20,000. So the price of property had gone up virtually 7 times in 7 years. Now, I was scratching at the time, thinking, do I really want to do a degree, or shall I? All this money I saved up to go and do study and get my A-levels so I could go on and do a degree, should I invest it in property? Big mistake. I decided to go and study instead of giving him the money, because that property is now worth about 2 million. That one property would have set me up for life. I wouldn't have had to work any time for the rest of my life, running it as an HMO. So I could see the value of property. But I didn't. I went and got a degree, then became a lecturer in law, and watched the price of property in Clapham. And it came to the point in 1991, we're only talking about 20 years afterwards, the property had gone up 180,000 in value. So from 20 to 180,000, which was over 3 times what I'd earned working as a lecturer, having got a degree, and eventually became a senior lecturer. Over that period of time, I'd been better off just in capital appreciation and earnings in property. So that sort of, I think, sparked the interest in property. So it just gradually built up and built up until 1991, when I went out and did my first deal. And this is it. As a college lecturer, the college needed accommodation for students before, as I say, HMOs were even known as being HMOs. There was no legislation or anything like that. Literally, I just went to the accommodation officer and said, is this suitable to become an HMO? And she said, yeah, fine. Oh, yeah. And anyway, I could get her off a sizable backside and come and look at the property was if I took her out for lunch. So she said, great, That's okay for property. Just had a quick look at it. What did I have to do? Just chuck some beds in. That was it. It's an ordinary terraced house. Put some beds in. Oh yeah, and they insisted on tables and chairs in those days. And I couldn't charge more than 40 quid a week to the tenants. There's a sort of contradiction there. Eventually, the colleges suddenly came around to the idea of we'll build our own accommodation, and the cost of accommodation was about £150 a week. And I think, hang on a minute, we were told we couldn't charge more than 40 quid a week. That's why you had pretty grotty student accommodation. If we could charge 100 quid, we'd be able to provide a better product. This is the sort of contradiction you have, and you'll find the whole business, as it will come across to you, it's a very contradictory business. It has no logic. So I bought it for 35,000. Within the space of, 16, 17 years, it'd gone from 35,000 in value. We're now valuing it as an HMO to 350,000. And I sometimes, when problems get too much, I think, why didn't I just stay with that one property? It's made more than I could ever earn. On top of that, next slide, sorry, I'm jumping ahead of myself. It would have made me a reasonable income. Today, it'd probably be bringing in about 40 grand a year, assuming I paid off the mortgage. So is 40 grand enough to live on? One HMO, could have done it all myself, give me a bit of interest in life, probably take me an hour or two a week to run that one HMO, instead of having the over 100, and I got up to about 167 HMOs, over 1,000 tenants, problem of dealing with tenants, councils and all the rest of it. Different thing. You sort of throw back, can you go back? You ever read the E-Myth? Yeah. Entrepreneurs always want to go back to where they started when life was simpler and all the rest of it. I'm not complaining, I've just moaned. I like moaning. You'll find that with landlords, by the way. They love to moan. We're always going on about it. Anyway, I was saying to you earlier about property. You don't need money for it. That's a myth. One of the myths, you want to kick them out. I was in a job, you know what the definition of a job is? Just over broke, very good, yeah. Give him a prize. Do you want a prize? Who's that? Who said that? Was you there? Was it you? There we are. I won't throw it, it might hurt you. Oh well. He's been miserable, he can have one as well. A bit of an initiative. You've got to be a bit sort of, what's that word, about being property. I use credit cards. Now, credit cards are not supposed to be used for buying property, so I was told by my learned colleagues in the college. This is why I use my business cards are replicas of credit cards. So there's nothing to stop you having as many credit cards as you want. In the height, I had 40 credit cards. At that time, I only had 20. And you can go and take money out on them. Now, this is unfortunately a product of the time. Can we go on to the next one? It's telling you about the rents. Can we go back to? I bought this property for how much? 35,000. So I took out 35,000 on credit cards, got an Asda bag, walked over to the solicitors. You can't do this today. You can't buy, well, you can buy properties for 35,000 if you go to Barrow, Inverness, Peterlee, some of these places. You can still buy flats and things for about 20 grand. So the credit card approach will work, but it certainly won't work in Wednesbury. You're talking about 120,000 for a property. So I went to the bank, took it over to the solicitor, bought my first property. Next one, thanks. And purchased it. First year I made £3,000. Beginner's luck, even though I bought the property on credit cards. That's even at 40 quid a week, the limiting factor on how much you could do this. Maybe I was lucky, maybe I wasn't. I've never considered myself particularly lucky, but when I look back, I think sometimes the amazing luck I had, the fact that I had an accommodation officer who said, this is how you do it. Now you've got a whole load of manuals, books, people like me can tell you how to do it. There was no one there at the time to tell you what to do. Once I bought the properties, what came in with credit cards was free balance transfers for the life of the loan. Free balance transfers. You've heard them now, they don't. They charge you about 1%. They're only for about 3 to 6 months. Complete con. Because they say, oh, you can have this balance transfer. It's for free. costs you 2% admin fee, and it's only for 3 months. What's the interest rate on that? 8%. Who's that? Yeah, good. Other one on planning. You can obviously be able to do that. Pardon? You could do one on planning, yes. 8%, that's what they're charging on this. I had it for free for the life. So I wasn't paying anything for the mortgage on that property. You can't do that, I was told by my colleagues. That's not right, that's fraud. Credit cards are for going down the pub, having a meal, and all the rest of it. So the rent's gone up, the purchase price has gone up. That just gave me the appetite to carry on buying. Next one, please. So, Jim, HMO daddy, I think I've told you everything about myself. Done all this. Yep, next one. I've done lots of deals. I mainly do commercial to residentials. I've done 40 in the last, the period of time I've been in this business, and I've acquired about 167 HMOs, about 30 single lets, and various other properties. So I've got a fair bit of experience about it. Though the more experience I get, the more I begin to think I don't understand anything about this business. So that's a good advert. Move on. So how do I do it? Next one, please. These are the kind of things I've done. Commercial to residential enables you to acquire unattractive buildings very cheaply, and I converted them into HMOs. I do them mostly by acquiring them through purchase lease options, delay completions. So in other words, I got the properties for nothing. Well, it's probably an exaggeration to say I got them for nothing. You put £1 down, I get them rent-free, turn them into HMOs. Next one, please. Offices in particular were great because you could turn them into residential and then flip them over to HMOs. And an office is usually already done for an HMO. What's the difference between an office, the old type of office, a room about 15 by 15, and an HMO? Well, most offices have kitchens. Yeah, for the staff, they have kitchens. They also have toilets. And more importantly, they have fire alarms, fire doors. It's already there. What do you just need to add? A bed. Yeah, just go and chuck a few beds in, and away you go. And you pick it up for nothing. Next one, please. Shops are not particularly interesting to me. They're getting better now. I'm finding we're renting the shops. I just buy the properties, not for the shops, but for the flats above. Again, permitted development allows you to turn the upstairs of a property into 2 flats, then turn them into 6-bed HMOs. So you get a 12-bed HMO. The kind of money it comes from, does it matter you can do anything with the shop? I used to give the shops away, I know it's rent-free, just to get away from having to pay business rates on them. Now you can start renting them out. There seems to be a bit of a surge. Next one, please. So it doesn't matter. Does the property add up? I've been questioned a lot of times, what are you doing with all the rest of this property? Does it matter? It makes money on this. I get all my money back on this. I even cashed out money. So what does it matter what I do with the rest of it? The self-limiting that people have, or questions they have to have, don't make any sense, please. What you need to learn is one of the 7 wonders of the world. Someone else mentioned this earlier on, the chap on wheels. I can't remember what sense he did it, but I don't think many people grasp the whole concept of lenders will lend you 75% of the investment value. The investment value is based on what? You know, it's coming back to me now. The person got 2 shops. They were empty, and he virtually doubled the value of the shops by doing what? Put a tenant in. And then it's valued on its income. This is yourself. Oh, right. Well done. So, you know. It's valued on the income. HMOs in this part of the world vary between about 6 and 10 times the income. Forget expenses, forget what your tax returns show. They just look at it. And if it's bringing in, say, 100 grand a year, then it's worth between 6 to 10 times the income. So it's worth 600,000 to $1 million. Give yourselves a round of applause. You're all awesome valuers. That's as hard as it gets. Yep. You can use a calculator if you want. So you just bring up, put the income on it, get it valued. They'll lend you 75% of it, the investment value. It's a crazy system. It makes no sense. But as I said, property makes no sense. The whole business is irrational. Next one. So I aim to get all my money back out. Hopefully not putting money in. I usually prefer not to put money in, but I certainly get it all back out. Otherwise, I couldn't have carried on building. I'm still as broke as the day I bought my first property. Why? Because I put all the money back into buying more properties. They're the various strategies you can use. I'm not going to give you a lecture on very different strategies. These all take at least a day to learn. There are strategies you should learn that should be in your toolbox. The number of people say to me, oh, how do you get a property? I go, well, what kind of property do you want? I don't know. Well, if you don't know what kind of property you want, and how are you going to, what kind of strategy are you going to purchase it? The easiest and daftest way is to pay the purchase price. There's so many different ways of doing it. And this is what all the smart investors do. The amateurs pay cash for the property. People like myself go along and talk to the people selling it and say, can we do a deal? That's it, simple as that. Can we do a deal?
I've not seen that. What's adverse possession?
Adverse possession, well, it's even better. You don't have to ask anyone's permission. You just find an abandoned property and take it over and rent it out. It's dealing with abandoned properties. No, you don't need any time. Just take it over and do it. You're confusing two things. You're thinking, when do I get legal, can I register myself as the legal owner of this property with the land registry, which is 10 to 12 years. Property you don't own in this country. You just have possession of it. It's always been the case that ownership of property comes down to possession. So you take it and then rent it out. So you get an income on a property that's for free. Usually it may require a bit of work to be done. And what you don't want to do is take a property that someone's just gone away on holiday, maybe a long holiday on, or something like that. You need to check it out. Yes.
Is that similar to Jamie Oliver?
Jamie Oliver?
When someone took over his...
No, that's squatters. No, Jamie's pub was owned by Jamie or his company or whatever. You can't do it. I'm talking about properties which have just been abandoned. You get a lot of lands abandoned. People don't know who it owned. Like the properties, someone's just disappeared and no one's followed it up. So adverse possession.
But hang on a second. But how does that help you? Because if you get something like that, you're going to have to spend quite a bit of money to bring it up to a tenable standard. And
Could
you
be.
wouldn't do that if you knew that somebody could just walk in and say, it's mine.
Yeah. You've actually brought up one of the perfect examples of why people don't do it. The what ifs are so full in this business, you might as well go back to bed. You will be put off by that. Yes, you are taking a risk and you back out. So the moral of the story is don't spend too much on it to get your money back.
We'll do a Q&A afterwards because I think he's going to get bombarded.
Okay.
I knew he'd be entertaining.
And this is the other question I often get. Why would someone give you a property for nothing? Well, it's not. I gave him £1. I mean, that's to make sure we've got consideration. So it wasn't for nothing. We've got a deal. Why would they do that? Well, with commercial properties, you've got something called business rates. And you've got no exemptions or anything like that for business rates. At least they haven't with business rates like they've done with council tax, double it and triple it if you leave the property empty for more than a certain period of time. But business rates are the killer. So the person who owns the property is paying business rates. And around this area, you're talking about 1/7 of the value of the property is being paid in business rates. So in 7 years, if they gave the property away, they'd be in the same position as they leave it empty and paying the business rates on the empty property. It's crippling for people. On top of that, next one, you've got problem of vandalism, insurance, responsibility. People, when they get property and they can't sell it, it becomes a millstone to them. So you go mincing up and go, yeah, I've got £1 to give you for the property. You think they'll tell you to jog on or mince on. You certainly don't know. No, obviously, you should watch Round the Horn and all the rest of it, mincing around. Hello, can we have a little bit of property? Yes, would you do that? It is. It's as simple as that. They want rid of it. I'll take it on. I'll turn it into an HMO and make some money on it. So, unfortunately, this one I bought for 110,000. It's just an example of how I've done it. Next one, please. Turned it into a 10-studio HMO. Yes, it cost me money to do that, but I had bought it, so I'm fairly safe. Next one. Cost of conversion, 150 grand. So I'm now up to how much? 260,000. See, it can take a bit of money to do all this. Total value, 260. Now, you're all awesome valuers. This had an income or a rental income of, say, 60 grand. What is it worth?
600.
Could be 600 at 10%. How much was it? Got an income of 62,000. They valued it at $500,000. How much can you borrow? 5%, which is, next one, please. We've done that. We've explained it all to you. Yep, next one, please. You can borrow £350,000. How much did I spend? Next one, please. 260, so I cash out with £90,000. I get the property, I get all my money back, so I get the property for free, and I've got 90k on top. Now, I assure you, if you walk around with 90k in your pocket, the girls will be pleased to see you. Girls, you will get a lovely handbag for that kind of money. It will be the envy of all your girlfriends. It's the way to do it. On top of that, the property will make money, because by the time if you calculate the cost of running the property, the mortgages, the utilities, you'll still get an income. So you've got a property for nothing, 90k and an income. You're probably out of that making about 40 grand a year from that one property. Next one, please. And remember that 90k is tax-free because it's a loan. Next one, please. We'll go quickly look at some of the projects I've done. Let's flick that. So there was a ex-solicitor's office. I got that for £1. I was at the time totally broke. Got too many deals on and I couldn't afford it. So it's one of my earliest purchase lease options, except we didn't know about purchase lease options back then. I got it for £1, agreed to buy it a year's time. When I'd filled it up, got it valued on income, and pay the gentleman the 120k I bought for the property. So all I had to do is go around and do what? To get an office going as an HMO. Stick some beds in, and away I went. Took the rental income I got from the tenants to improve the property. I never actually bought any beds. I got all the beds for free by going around various people who were giving away beds.
People who've been on holiday.
No. Next one, please. So, use the money to upgrade. Next one, please. I'm not doing this to boast. I'm just saying this is how simple it is. So, I'm hopefully inspiring yourselves so that you don't have to work for the rest of your lives. All you have to do is get yourself an HMO. Next one, please. Cash out on that one, 77k, again tax-free. This is one of my recent projects. It's the largest HMO outside London, famous for that, in Wolverhampton. I acquired this property. It cost me actually 5k they wanted for it. A bit more than £1. And it's turned out, say, it's now a 220-bed HMO.
I've been in this building, it's awesome.
It is.
One or two you remember, when we mentioned Marek that comes here, that's, he often comes to MING, the Polish lad. He's done all the and this and that thing, 4x4.
We're sticking 3 stories on top as well at the moment, so making it even bigger. I think the biggest ones are about 500 room. They call it co-living. You know, it's a posh name. HMOs has a bad reputation, but you tell me the difference between co-living and HMOs. I don't know. It's just the name. This is the latest one because I'm running it. It's a 32-room HMO. This is the one you can come and have a look at. I couldn't understand why it was only going for £1.2 million and no one wanted it. It had been up for sale for about a couple of years. Why I hadn't spotted it, I don't know, but I had my own problems.